Dear beautiful sisters and brothers, dear beautiful family from Baptist World Alliance, my name is Cesar Sotomayor, and I have been working already 18 years among refugees. I work for the Austrian Baptist Aid, and today I want to talk with you about a tremendous topic in a very short time. We're going to talk about a world on the move, responding to the refugees and migrants. We can have many information about the statistics and the research that has been doing by UN, ICR, and we can see in the Global Trends report online that today 1% of humanity is uprooted. We can see that many people, that we call it internally displaced people, have been living their comfortability, living their homes, living everything what they have. In this report, we can see that in the last 10 years, 100 million of people have been displaced. Many of them, they cross the border, and we call it refugees. 2/3 of these, that we call it, we can say 79 millions of people, they come from 5 countries. One of them is Afghanistan, Syria, Venezuela, South Sudan, and Myanmar. From half of these people are children. We see that children are exposed to exploitation, trafficking, lack of education, suffering. And I believe that we as a church, and especially we as a Baptist, we have a responsibility and we have an opportunity to love our neighbors, a responsibility to search for justice, to search for freedom is something that we stand for. We are in a world of conflict. I have seen that the vocabulary that we use today on about these people is refugees or internally displaced people, stateless, migrants. But that is a very new vocabulary. If we go to the Bible, we can see that normally they were called foreigners or they were called strangers. That means from the Old Testament, when you hear God talking about refugees, it's because you see the word stranger, or you see the word foreigner, or alien even. We have this opportunity to love them. You know, in these 18 years serving among these people in need, always, from the very beginning, has been in my mind the word of our Lord Jesus Christ. The words that we can find in Matthew chapter 25, verse 34 and 35. I want to read for you. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." And Jesus said, our Lord, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger. I was a refugee. I was a displaced people, a migrant, and you invited me in. You welcomed me in." These beautiful words are in my mind again and again, because when I see the question from these beautiful people, these blessed ones saying, "Lord, when did we see you a stranger and invite you in?" And then the verse 40 we hear and we see the words of our King saying, "I tell you the truth. Whatever you did for one of the least of those brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." That this word has been in my mind again and again. And when I see brothers and sisters, or when I see people helping and engaging themselves in this necessity, the word of our King come to our mind. A second picture that I want to share with you, that I want to stay in your heart and in your mind, is the picture of that I call it the divine refugee. Yes, we can find that in Matthew chapter 2 from the verse 30 to 23. We can see the story when Jesus was born and Joseph and Maria were there. An angel appears to Joseph and told him, "Took the child and flee. Took the child and go and search for refuge in Egypt." We can see that this family, this small family of three, they were displaced people. There was an authority, a king, searching to kill them. They crossed the border to a country that they never had been before. They crossed the border to a country that was in poverty, a country that was under the empire of Rome too, a country that they didn't know. They didn't have time to apply for a visa maybe. And they crossed to a country in need and they became a refugee. This picture until today is in my mind when a family comes to our nations in need. I can see Jesus there. I can see Maria and Joseph in need and desperation. These pictures stays in our minds and in our hearts. In the last 18 years in Austria and the country that we are, our churches have experienced something so powerful. And I will talk to you about something that happened a few years ago. In the year 2015, you saw in many newspapers around the world about the crisis of Europe. Here in Austria, in our Baptist churches, we call it the blessing of Europe. The blessing of Europe because many children, many women and men in need came to our nation from different backgrounds, especially my church, start to help refugees from Afghanistan and from Iran. And we saw the need and they saw the love. Yes, we welcome them. We welcomed them into our homes, to our churches, and they became our brothers and sisters. Many of them, they didn't understand why we was doing that until they saw the love of God and they read it and we explained it and they received Jesus. Many of them. They right now are brothers and sisters and many too are co-workers. From a picture of a divine refugee family or a picture of our King saying, "You did that to me." In the words that I have today for you, I want to encourage you. I want to challenge you to welcome the migrants, to welcome the refugees, to welcome these little sisters and brothers into our homes, into our churches. There is a word from our Father in heaven in the book of Leviticus, chapter 19, starting in the verse 33, that I want to share with you too. And the words say like this: when a foreigner lives with you in your land, do not ill-treat him. The foreigner living with you must be treated as one of your native born. Love him as yourself, for you were foreigners in Egypt. I am the Lord your God. This Father in heaven, this I am who I am, this Yahweh, our God, was telling us from the very beginning of times, because we saw migration from the very beginning of the word. We can see in the context that there is in the heart of this God love for the foreigner, love for the stranger, as we are, as we were, as Jesus was, a refugee in Egypt, a displaced person, a stateless maybe, a migrant. Even when he came back to Israel, he didn't come back to his own city because of fear. So they stay and they went to other city where he grew up. So I want to challenge you with 3 things. As I say, this topic is tremendous, theologically, anthropologically, sociologically. But I want to challenge you with 3 things. How you can engage with this need. In many continents, we see this need. In Europe, as we see this blessing of Europe, how our churches are growing in an amazing way by refugees that they decide to follow Jesus Christ in Austria, by refugees who are arriving in Lebanon, Turkey, Jordan, or refugees in Greece. Even we have from this blessing of Europe, I have brothers and sisters that are serving among them too, and they were refugees. Brother that I love, he's living with his wife in the next days to help refugees in a place that he were in Greece, in Lesbos, in the refugee camp. We see this love because we welcome them. In this blessing of Europe, that I call it, we can see the same around Venezuela. We can see the same around Myanmar, in the refugee camps in Bangladesh. We can see this need around Afghanistan. The report given by the UNICR, they talk about 79 millions in the beginning of 2020. As we see the news from the last months, the 700,000 displaced people in the north of Mozambique, many of them Baptist brothers and sisters. We can see in West Niger many displaced people that are going to become refugees if they made it to cross the border. People in need. We have reached more than 80 millions. In these 3 things that I want to challenge you, you can do all of them at the same time. First, please do a small research, globally and locally. Write the information. Share it with your families, with your church, with your friends, and take a time to pray for them. Our prayer is so powerful because we have the only one powerful God. The second thing you can do is support these ministries financially. If you contact the Baptist World Alliance leadership, they can guide you into which projects, which places are in need, and you can support them. And the third thing is please welcome them in, as you will receive Jesus in your home or this divine refugee family. Our 3 things that I would like to do it together with you, as we do as a Baptist World Alliance family. We do it here in our church, we do it at our home, and we want to do it together with all of you. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of my heart, a little bit of what is going on here. It's much more that I can talk to you. There are many stories, many miracles too, and many needs. That is what I can share with you today. God bless you.